The David case just took a turn nobody saw coming. Police found human remains in a Tesla registered to David, and the victim has been identified as 15-year-old Celeste, who was reported missing in April 2024. Police raided his home, seized bags of evidence, and took his computer. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking. Online investigators and sources are raising the possibility of another victim. And get this, some people are now questioning whether David actually did this alone, or if someone else was pulling the strings. Reports show his manager Josh Marshall didn't join the tour, and neighbors say the Tesla was moved. Facts that have led people to ask questions about his role. Plus, Celeste's family finally got the answers they've been waiting a year for, and it's heartbreaking. The raid itself was something nobody expected to see. The police raid that changed everything. Picture this scene if you can. It's one morning when suddenly multiple police cars pull up outside D4vd's house. Neighbors start peeking through their windows as officers in tactical gear surround the property. They're not just making a casual visit. These cops have search warrants in hand, and they mean business. The search was thorough and lasted hours. Officers went through every room, every closet, every possible hiding spot. Neighbors reported seeing officers carry out multiple evidence bags, some pretty hefty ones too. But here's the kicker. They seized his computer and electronic devices. You can imagine how the whole neighborhood must have felt watching this unfold. Think about what could be on that computer. Deleted text messages, search history, photos, videos, maybe even communications we don't know about yet. Forensics on his computer could potentially recover deleted messages, location logs, and timestamps. Evidence that could confirm contacts or timelines that right now exist only in social posts and screenshots. Digital forensics can recover almost anything, even stuff you think is gone forever. Now here's where it gets legally interesting. Police don't just show up with search warrants for fun. Raids require probable cause, which means they had enough evidence to convince a judge that more evidence would likely be found at his property. That's a pretty high bar to meet. So what changed between him being just a person of interest and police feeling confident enough to raid his home? Something big must have come to light in recent weeks. The timeline leading up to this raid tells us a lot. For months, David was what investigators call a person of interest. That basically means they wanted to talk to him, maybe keep tabs on him, but didn't have enough to arrest him. A person of interest can still walk around freely, travel, post on social media, whatever. But once you become a suspect in custody, everything changes. You're looking at handcuffs, interrogation rooms, and lawyers. So why hasn't he been arrested yet? This is where people get confused about how the legal system actually works. Having suspicions isn't enough. Even having some evidence isn't always enough. Investigators need specific, court-admissible evidence to make an arrest, which helps explain why a high-profile figure may be searched but not immediately charged. That's why they're being extra careful about building their case. The raid timing wasn't random either. Law enforcement sources suggest new evidence emerged in the past few weeks that changed everything. We don't know exactly what that evidence is yet, but it was significant enough to get a judge to sign off on raiding the home of a famous musician. That doesn't happen every day. Maybe it was witness testimony, maybe digital evidence from other sources, or maybe something else entirely. But here's where this story takes an even darker turn. Some online investigators have raised the possibility of additional victims, a theory law enforcement has not confirmed, and that speculation is part of why the seizure of devices matters. Think about that for a second. This case might be bigger than anyone initially thought. When people start talking about multiple victims, it usually means they've found patterns of behavior or evidence suggesting this wasn't a one-time thing. The fact that they seized his computer during this raid is huge. Forensic experts can recover deleted files, browsing history, encrypted messages, and communication patterns that might reveal contact with other potential victims. They can also track location data, app usage, and even determine exactly when files were deleted. If David tried to cover his tracks digitally, this computer could expose everything. This raid represents a major escalation in the case. But while investigators work through the evidence, there's one group of people who have been waiting for answers longer than anyone else. Celeste's family finally gets answers. Celeste's family shared an Instagram story that said, "We finally got answers." The family did not detail what those answers were publicly. After a year of not knowing what happened to their 15-year-old daughter, who was reported missing in April 2024, they finally had some closure. You can only imagine what those answers contained, and honestly, knowing probably hurt worse than the uncertainty. The family endured a year of horrifying uncertainty while dealing with public harassment from online supporters of the accused. The body found in the Tesla was decomposed, which aligns with reports that it had been in the vehicle for an extended period. The body was eventually released to the family, and a funeral was scheduled. When investigators say a family got answers, it usually means one of several things happened. Maybe DNA results finally came back confirming identity. Maybe the coroner determined an official cause of death. Could be that forensic evidence revealed a timeline of events that night. None of these answers bring Celeste back, but they give the family something concrete to hold on to instead of endless questions. What made everything worse was how public this whole thing became. Social media turned their private tragedy into content for millions of strangers. People started making theories and posting videos about their daughter's death. The family had to see their loved one's name trending on TikTok and Twitter, usually connected to speculation and gossip. Every new development got dissected by amateur detectives online. Some David supporters crossed every possible line when it came to harassing this grieving family. They accused family members of lying, of setting up David, of seeking attention or money. They sent nasty messages calling them clout chasers and worse. Imagine losing your daughter and then having teenagers online tell you she deserved it or that you're making it up. These people had to deal with that harassment while planning a funeral. The family tried to stay dignified through all of this chaos. They made a few public statements asking people to respect their privacy and let the investigation proceed. They asked for justice for Celeste without naming specific suspects or making wild accusations. They handled the media attention better than most people could have under those circumstances. Of course, conspiracy theorists couldn't leave them alone. Some people actually suggested the family knew more than they were saying. Others implied they were somehow involved or covering something up. These theories spread across social media platforms faster than the actual facts did. Random people with no connection to the case felt qualified to judge a grieving family's every move. Many social posts contain speculation and unverified screenshots from Discord and Twitter that can easily be faked. Please don't harass this family or anyone involved in this case. They've been through enough without strangers online making their lives worse. This case affected other families dealing with missing persons too. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know if their cases would get the same attention. Local support groups saw increased attendance from families hoping their loved ones might finally get justice too. The spotlight on Celeste's case gave hope to some families while making others feel forgotten. For Celeste's family, justice probably means seeing whoever took their daughter held accountable in court. It means knowing the truth about what happened that night. It means being able to properly grieve without social media harassment. They've been fighting this fight for over a year now, and getting these answers was just one step in a much longer journey towards some kind of peace. But while this family tries to heal, there's something happening online that's absolutely disgusting.